Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world. I've got the giggles because my good mate Nathan Brookes is here with me. But before we get to Nathan Brookes, this show is brought to you, as always, by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. My man, Jason Hawes, proud Sharks man. Let's jump into it. This is a derby episode. Now, this is the midweek sort of flagship episode, but we're going to throw that out the window and it's just going to be derby. Now, speaking of Robert Darby, on the other end of the line is my good friend Nathan Brookes. You know him from SEN Radio. You know him from The League Life. You know him from his new comedic podcast, which we'll get into shortly. And he's just my buddy. We used to work at Fox Sports together. Huge fan of the sports in general, and he loves comedy. He makes me laugh. Nathan Brookes, welcome to SharkCast Pod yet again.
Shinazzi, 8 weeks it's been since the Canadian Boffins have made it so that we can come back around again in 2 months' time. We didn't have to wait 16 weeks to play you guys again, but it's good to be back here. And yeah, we can discuss what's been happening since the last few months and what we might see play out at Cogra at 3 p.m. on Saturday or today if you're listening on game day.
Yes, exactly. Yes, not sure when they'll be listening, but they might be listening in the future post game.
Let us know. Yeah, let us know when you
know.
listened and what time you started, when you finished. Like, log it in, punch your card in, punch it out.
Now
Did you listen at a speed like 1.2?
Oh, mate,
just to get through it quicker.
Can I just say no? But can I just say, Brookesy, you're the only person that does that in the whole world.
Really? I thought people like to save time and get through as much potties and audiobooks as possible. No,
you are an absolute freak when it comes to this stuff. For people who are unaware, and that's 99% of our audience, Nathan Brookes has a habit of listening to his podcasts with the speed on fast mode.
Yeah, 1.2 to 1.4, depending on how fast you talk.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying I don't understand the Nathan merit of it, but it is pretty ridiculous, dude. I'm sorry.
I reckon there's people out there that listen to you quicker than normal speech, Naz. I reckon
I'm a slow talker. Take me out of the equation.
And you space out your words. So
I do.
If you bring it in. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the derby. We're going to talk about, as you said, what's happened since we met in round 15. And we're also going to do a thing where we're talking about our 3 best, most important, favorite players that have played for both clubs. So I'm going to pick 3 guys that have played for both clubs.
Yeah.
You're going to do the same. We will tell you why. We'll do that throughout the show, maybe a bit later on. So please stick around. We're going to have a lot of fun. Before we get into business, Nathan, please spruik your afternoon show and also your comedic podcast, which I've forgotten what it's called.
Okay, so my paid job is producer at SEN, which is 11:70 a.m. In Sydney and 6:93 a.m. in Brizzy. If you're up that way, if you're a Sharks fan north of the border there, north of the Tweed. It's called The Run Home with Joel and Fletch. So Joel Kane, who's a Shire local these days, Schnaz, former West Tiger, and Brian Fletcher, who's never left Bondi unless it's been for work or going to Mr. Wong's. So it's a very funny 3 hours every weekday. And if you haven't checked us out, come check us out live or get on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Also part of a podcast with a couple of comedians. Andrew Barnett, you'd know him as the half of Professor and Barney that was on Fox Sports. And Steve Philp, if you might know Philpy, he does the warm-up for the Matty John show on Thursdays and Sunday nights at Fox. So the 3 of us get in generally on a Tuesday, Wednesday night and record an episode of Not Another Effing Rugby League Podcast. Because like your podcast, Shaz, there's thousands of them out there, and we thought we would add to that clutter on your podcast feed.
That's true. Now, it should be pointed out that, first of all, as everyone knows, this show's been going for 11 years. But around that time, or maybe 10 years ago, you and I had a podcast
Yeah.
called The
The
League
League
Life.
Life.
And The League Life is still online. So we urge you to go listen to it. It's still a good listen. We reconvened during COVID, and there's
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, 50 at least episodes up there. So go have a look.
Oh, at
And for a
least.
laugh, I've been throwing up the yearly Derby episodes on there as well. So I'll throw this one up
Oh, nice.
on there as well, just to get the people excited. So
Yeah.
that's how you and I know each other. That's what you do. People know
Yeah.
what I do. So let's get into it. Head to head,
Yeah. Let's go.
55 matches played since the merged entity. It's also important to point out, as your jersey suggests, you're a Steelers man, not a Dragons man.
Yes, born in Wollongong, so went for the Steelers. Born in 1982, which is when the Steelers were born. So naturally, it was a good fit. My uncle was
Mhm.
mates with a few of the players, so got into the sheds. Lived on the Goldie when the Giants were there, so got into the sheds there at Seagull Stadium. Got to meet plenty of the players: Chris Walsh, Michael Bolt. Who else was there? Wishy, Mary, David Riolo, all those iconic for Steelers fans, early '90s players, and that's isn't that just such a good way to become a fanatic of a team, getting to meet the players after games and getting
Yeah,
autographs and photos? So,
yeah.
mate, lifelong fan of the Steelers slash Dragons. And look, I'm more of a Dragons fan now than a Steeler in terms of my life. It's been 20, what is it, 26 seasons now.
Is that right?
Yeah, this
There you
99 to
go. 99.
25.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it. 26 of 43 being a dragon. So
Doesn't seem
no,
right,
but
does it?
it's good. Yeah, there's obviously been some interesting things with the merger and whatnot, but I think it's sort of starting to get a bit clearer now. Like we've got the two home grounds, we play a couple of games at the Allianz, but still, I think the big thing, Schnaz, with the merger at the moment, and it has been a bit interesting over the last few derbies, has been playing down at Wollongong. And I feel that it should never not be at Cogra if the Dragons are playing a home game.
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe Allianz Stadium if we're getting a shitload of people going to
Mm,
the games. But I think it's the derby is great anywhere, Shaz. We've been a few, um, and I've been down to Wollongong for a couple. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's any different, but I feel like we need to get a bit nostalgic with the derby at least and play those games at
absolutely.
Cogra when the Dragons have got the home team advantage.
So there's been derbies at Allianz, there's been derbies at Homebush,
Yep.
all of our home grounds. So yeah, I have spread it around a little bit. This will
Mm.
be the 56th game. We've actually remember for a long time it was sort of neck and neck with the wins and
Yeah.
losses.
You picked
We've
ahead.
gone ahead. We've gone ahead. So
Yeah.
we're 31 wins. You're 23 one drawn match. We have won
Yeah.
the past 10, my friend.
10.
10 and 10 of 12. 10 of sorry, past 10, 12 of the past 13. So pretty good. It's the
Yeah.
longest winning streak in this fixture. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
And the closer that means you're closer to a win than you are further away. I think we're not going to probably do,
Is that the
20 wins,
theory?
but
Like at roulette,
it
if it's
is.
been read
It
10
is.
times, you reckon
It
it's,
is.
it's the same probability?
It
And
is.
it's
I
like
mean, you
that
tell
with
me.
roulette and
You're the big Vegas guy, so you tell me.
yeah, but you're a big Vegas guy now too. So it's a couple of big Vegas guys here talking about probability. But yeah, it's about the squad, isn't it, Chnaz? Like it's not necessarily about the randomness of it. It's the players that you got, the injuries that you have, the injuries
Yeah.
you're dealing with. But yeah, Sharks have held their own over the last 5.5 years or whatever it's been. And we saw last game, we were talking about it. We were talking about the difference in the rosters. We were going through each position and going, which player would you want at each
Yeah.
position? And I think
Yep.
it ended up
Yep.
being 15-2. But Dragons started well, right? They started well in the game. It was a bit shaky there, but the Sharkies kicked
You
on
were
and got the
you were
win.
leading. You were leading 18-6.
Yeah, and that was the trouble around then with the Dragons, those first halves, like being good but not being able to go on with games. They've had three, I think it might have been when we were previewing the game, they'd had three games where they scored more tries than the opposition and still lost.
Yep.
And it's not, they're just unable to seal games, and that's been a factor for the Dragons, no doubt, throughout the year. And even since those games, you look at the games that we've played. they've been close ones, and most of them have been losses, and that's just the way it's played out. You, you want to go through some of the game, like well, let's just go quickly through the records, Shinaz, and you can pick out
Sure.
some of the games. So Sharkies, they've gone 4-2 with a bye since, and as you know, they've won their last four. So you had losses to the Broncos and the Storm.
Yeah.
Broncos was close. Storm was quite comprehensive, 30-6. You had the bye. You regrouped, and then you went and smashed the Dolphins, the Roosters. The Bunnies was a close one. Probably should have
Mm-hmm.
been bigger off the back of what we saw last week in Brisbane, and then the Cowboys with possibly one of the worst halves in the season
Yeah.
so far in that first half. Dragons had the bye after the game against the Sharkies, won against the Eels 34-20, then went on a 4-game losing streak against the Raiders, Roosters, Bulldogs, and Cowboys, which was a very disappointing loss, and then somehow beat the table-topping Raiders down at Win last week 18-12. So it's been, again, it's a bit bizarro world. 2 wins, 4 losses for the Dragons, 4 wins, 2 losses for the Sharks, but coming in hot with 4 straight wins. What have you liked in this streak, Shinaz?
I love the defense. So I think we haven't conceded more than 18 points, maybe 18, 20 tops. Yeah. But in 4 straight games, that's pretty good. I like the fact that when we are conceding a try, and here's one for your tip sheet, is that it's usually through a kick. We have conceded the most tries from kicks throughout the season. Our line is actually pretty good. And whatever's happened, because when they were conceding way too many points over that bad period, the number one thing was the defense to turn around. They've done it. The game against South was really weird. So much possession in the opposition 20. Yeah. Only scored 14 points. But they blew a few tries. Souths were incredible. It was sort of like their last ditch, I don't know, attempt at, any more injuries ruining the team, which they have.
Yeah.
That was just a weird game, but then they bounced back against the Cowboys really good as well. So I think there's still a lot of improvement to work on, but they've got to keep moving up now because they're fighting for 4th. They're currently in 7th. They've got to buy up their sleeve. They're mostly winnable games. So they've got to not only win them, but I think get better as they go along. But so far, so good for the past month. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like, and the other teams that have been either around them, above or below, have sort of faltered. And seeing that with the Warriors, like, should have 3 straight losses. You've got Panthers like sort of lurking. Will always lurk. Mad lurkers. They're going to be there challenging you for that top 4 spot if the Warriors falter. You've got some good fixtures. You've had Manly and Roosters play each other last week. You've got Roosters and Dolphins playing this week. So only 2 points on offer there, which is the schedule's been really good the last few weeks for you guys to sort of make your move. Did I see something, Shinaz, that you guys have gone from 11th to 5th or something over the last 5 weeks, maybe? Is it you guys? Or might have been someone else, 10th to 5th. You've sort of
slid.
made a bit of a charge. Yeah,
definitely
the Storm
slid.
Game with the 5
definitely slid
last week, getting 2 points.
We genuinely hadn't been that low for a while, and it kind of felt weird. It was like, oh, back to this. But then they got it together. They've had a bye. They've got another bye coming up. So, for whatever reason, the schedule's been pretty good because it was a pretty rough first half of the year. They were traveling all over the place, as you know. So it's sort of settled down a bit.
And that wasn't there that moment in the Dolphins game where it was Toby Rudolph who saved a try when the Dolphins were coming back. It might have been 14-12 maybe, or 16-12. And you guys went on
Sharks
to win that with 2 late tries, but
they were dominant the whole game.
Massive. That would have been massive, right?
Dominant the whole game. Let them in for a 5-10 minute window, and you know what the Dolphins are like. They can score on a dime. And Toby Rudolph, and I've said this before on the show, but I was so in shock that it was him, not because he's not an effort player, because he is, but you don't expect a prop to be doing that. Last line of kick defense. Hello, where's the fullback? Where are the wingers? I said to Kieran, who was next to him, like, Kieran, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And he goes, yeah, Toby Rudolph just saved the season. And I said, what? He's like, yeah, it was Toby Rudolph. And I was looking, going, this can't be. But he did. That should not be forgotten. He did. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was I remember hearing him in an interview where he was just like, I went down, got a cat, went down to a cafe, and someone said, "Nice game," and I was like, I've never heard that after a game before. It was so good, but it's funny, all these stars, recruits, everything, and the last 8 weeks we're talking about a play that Toby Rudolph made,
Yeah,
who's been in and out of the injury list for the Sharkies the last few years. More so probably in that list than out of it, and he
yeah,
made a big play. It was great, and I guess the Dragons' moment over those last like 7, 8 weeks has been the win last week. Like Flano was staring down, one win like since the Sharks game, coming
yeah,
back to play his team, former team that he hasn't beaten yet as the Dragons coach, and then somehow just in some rough conditions down and win, just take down the league leaders who are like legitimately playing for the minor premiership, trying
mhm,
to steer clear of Canterbury and the Storm, who the Storm look shaky against the Eels. Bulldogs eventually go down that week to the West Tigers. And it's 2 points that they probably go, damn it, like that would have kicked us clear of the Dogs, top two finish,
yeah, yeah.
um, like pretty much guaranteed. And yeah, they're sort of just chalking it up as the loss that they needed to have, which was a bit disrespectful for the for
Yeah.
Steel Dragons fans to sort of cop.
It it
Not like
very
credit.
well it very well may have been the loss they needed to have,
Yeah,
but you don't ever want to have them, right? Like it doesn't feel
yeah,
good. Like it's okay to throw that cliche out, but it's only
yeah,
okay if you go win the comp. Now, I know a team that did that in 2016, went on like a 3-game losing streak, I think, after a record-breaking 16-game winning streak.
yeah,
But I could say in hindsight, oh, it's the losses they had to have. Canberra
yeah,
can't say that unless they sort of win next week and keep going. I noticed
yeah,
the Dragons, they've lost the past 5 games. They've been decided, not lost, decided by 7 points or less. So you guys are in these
yeah.
ones up to your armpits. Um, the thing is consistency.
Hmm.
You haven't won more than two straight 2 times this year. This will be the third time
Nah,
if you can win
no.
consecutive games. So it's like you need to bounce back. And tell me about the game against Canberra because I only saw bits and pieces of it. But what was your takeaway from that? Like, was it the Flanagan kicking game, or what was it in those conditions?
No, it was just, I think Canberra did, that was their worst game of the season. And we've seen that. We've beaten the Storm and the Raiders this year in
Yeah,
um, not preferable conditions. And you can see that the wet this year has really brought the favourites down to the opposition level. And that's
yeah,
what the Dragons have sort of done in those games. They've played to the conditions perfectly both times against the Storm and the Raiders. The They ran with the wind in the first half, got out to like you thought at halftime, you're like, the Raiders are going to chase this down. It's like a horse that's just come out, it's bolted, it's
yeah,
coming around the turn and it's only 4 lengths ahead. Like you just go,
yeah,
that it's going to get swamped around the straight. And that's what I felt like with the Dragons. But it felt when you were watching the game that the Dragons were just playing, got decent territory. Canberra weren't really taking advantage of it. Plenty of errors, the conditions, you can run it down to the conditions. But yeah, it was like 40, 50 kilometre-hour winds from the south,
yeah,
Shinaz. That
yeah,
windsock was on overtime. Wind no one was on the hill. The conditions, like there was lightning. That's where we saw in the rugby that night. There was a stoppage at Homebush, so it was a safe. Like it was sort of nearly Sharknado Monday night, Sharkies
yeah,
Rabbitohs sort of vibes, but yeah, it just they just got through the game. I think the short kicking game was really good from the Dragons. Like in King Tongia got forced, I think, 4 dropouts. Kyle Flanagan, they took the goals. Like Kyle's been kicking very well since taking over from Val when he
yeah,
got injured, and that's sort of where the difference was there in the game. 18-12. There was a few extra penalty goals there that kept the Raiders at bay. The forwards, the forward battle, which we probably should have lost with the likes of Tarpanade, Papali'i, Horsburgh, Hudson Young there. Just they matched up with them all right. The Raiders couldn't do much, and that's something that they're going to have to do against the Sharkies. Like we did see that as an important factor in the first game this year, and that's what you sort of saw in that second half, where your forward pack sort of took control of
Yep.
it, dominated field position. The Dragons couldn't score in the second half, so that was where they matched it there. They've got some Michael Molo hits. Clemmer was not quite Holden Cup Clemmer, but he was doing some good stuff. But yeah, no, it just was a surprising win, and a win they sort of needed to keep the faint, very faint. You're telling me there's a chance, sort of hopes alive for the Dragons to get into the eight.
So 5 of your wins have been at home. So 5 of your 7 wins at a home
Yeah,
ground. So
yeah,
that's an advantage for you this week. And yeah, you've still got a hope, and Flano's going to be absolutely drilling that in. This will be a classic Flano game of, if we'll be able to see if Shane Flanagan's still got it, because he'll try and get everything out of the Dragons this week. It'll be your finals are alive, a local derby.
yeah.
Everyone thinks we're no good. The whole thing, like he'll be ripping into them all. And I would expect a fiery Dragons team. If you're not firing in this game, I don't know. And same goes for my mob, but
Yeah,
Cogworth 3:00. It should be an okay crowd. I don't know if it's going to be a sellout or not. It should be, but
yeah.
I don't know if it will be. But it depends on the weather, probably. But coming off a win against Canberra, like you can't ask for much more than that as far as a fan point of view, right?
Yeah, yeah, for
So
sure. There should be a good
now,
crowd.
yeah,
I think, Chaz, the thing you guys, that Canberra didn't do was target. And look, I don't want to give trade secrets away, particularly on the Enemies podcast, but something Canberra didn't do. Probably our weakness in defence is our right side.
yep,
It barely went down there. Barely went down that side. Sorry, the left side. Your right side is going to be key in this game. You got
okay,
Lycan King Tongia there, who's still very flimsy in defence. Great, like he's getting there in attack, but defensively, like it needs to be targeted. That's where teams have sort of seen that in games. Didn't really test him down that channel. So you're
okay,
looking for Nickera. You're looking for who's your right centre at the moment? Jesse Ramian?
yeah, and Katoa on the wing,
Yeah. And
yeah,
Qatar, those guys are going to be pretty active. And I know that combination, we've seen some brilliant tries down that right from the Sharkies this year.
yeah,
That's where, particularly in that Broncos game after the Dragons win, there was some cracking tries in that first half. And that's
gotcha,
where
yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of traffic, and the Dragons and the young Dragons down that edge are gonna be very busy if Fitzy, Hannay, and Pricey have done their homework on the Dragons.
Now, before we get into talking about Dragons that have played for both clubs, the one concern I'm
Ooh.
looking at the stat sheet is that you make the second most offloads per game, and the Sharks have improved conceding so many offloads, but for a while they were like bottom tier. Now I know an offload doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean, a try or a line break or whatever, but it creates danger. So I truly think that's one of your your big keys to the game is offloads. I really do,
Second
because
phase.
the Sharks can be found out. This current mob, they don't deal well with second phase. Don't know why, but
Big
so we'll see
big
what happens
pack,
there.
big middle. You've got it's
I don't know.
what's the
I
issue
don't know.
there? Like it's
I think they just
it's
sort of
just
get a
been a bit of
bit
an
confused.
anomaly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But let's forget about that boring stuff for a bit. Let's have some fun,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about some guys that have played for both of our clubs. There's a long list. We're not going to go through the whole list, but what we're going to do is, and this is one of your ideas, of course, is we're going to pick 3 guys each that have played. We won't even start with the women, because basically all of the Cronulla NRLW team have played for the Dragons. But let's do NRL men, and we'll do 3, 2, 1, and we can do it however you. I'm going to call it level of importance, I think. But you can go favorites. You
Ooh.
can do it however you wanted it. But basically, we're going to pick 3. We're both going to pick 3, and you can work out why and how we've done it. Did you want to start being the hometown hero this week, or do you need me to
Yeah,
start?
I think I'll do it. I'll start. So I'm gonna
Sure.
go pretty recent. And it was disappointing to see him leave, and it was probably disappointing for you guys to lose him as he was developing too. I'm going Tyson Lamano, David Frizzell, as my number
Huge fan.
3.
Huge fan.
Last time the Dragons made the finals, he was there. There was some circumstances that played out in the off season. We won't go into that. Plenty of water under the bridge, and it sort of caused him to. Felt like it was in the news that they weren't. Him and his partner weren't too happy at the Dragons, and he went to Newcastle. But what played about a handful of games with the Sharkies, right, Shinaz, and was a Wollongong. I think he come from Wollongong. He was like Corrimal. Sharkies nabbed him, grabbed him from the Illawarra.
Yeah,
brought
big
him up to the
NYC guy.
Sharks.
Big NYC guy.
NYC would have been around 2010 that he had a good season. Played a couple of
Yeah.
seasons with the Sharkies in and out of the first grade side, and then ended up playing like 7-8 seasons for the Dragons up until 2020 and went up to the Knights. I thought he was great. He just strong origin player whilst at the Dragons, just very reliable. Remember, like, he made some try-saving tackles there in the late 10s. There was one where he chased down maybe a winger. It was sort of the reverse Marty Lang on Wishy. So it was good to be on the other side of that. But yeah, Frizz was a gun for us, and no doubt he played an important part in not only leadership but the skill set of the Dragons, and winning some of those derbies that we attended, and just being part of a solid squad, and the sort of player that we're probably yearning for in the pack at the moment. And one of your other guys that I'm going to be mentioning, who's a current player later in the list too.
Okay, and I should point out the way it is, obviously, in case you don't know, it's players that have come across to the other club. So you're talking about Cronulla guys that were Dragons. I'm talking about Dragons that were Cronulla, obviously, in case that wasn't clear, if I didn't say it well. So you've gone with the Frizz, and I have to say I loved him, watching him when he was a kid. He lit up that NYC team. He may have been captain, I can't quite remember, but an absolute beast. I feel like you turned him into more of a barging kind of prop kind of guy, but he had a lot of skills offloading and passing in NYC. Now I know NYC is a lot more attack orientated, but that's a good choice. And this little game we're playing, we could go back to 1967. We could say, well, Monty Porter came from the Dragons, went to the Sharks in their inaugural season. Now there's a grandstand named after him, etc., etc. So it doesn't matter how far back you want to go. Now, obviously, Brookesy and I, we're not of that quite vintage. We're both mature men now, but not that mature. But I am going to go slightly retro, slightly for our younger listeners, with my number 3. And I thought about putting him number 1, but you'll work out why I didn't do that. But I'm going number 3 with Lance Thompson. May he forever be in our memories. He's passed on now, unfortunately, but an absolute tough as nails player. Now, I picked him because he showed me a lot of things. He showed me not to judge a book by its cover. He showed me how to get over
literally, or
well, how to get over.
Look at this cover. Look at this cover. It's shit house, but when you read it, Shinaz, it's brilliant.
No. He showed me how to get over hatred and dislike. Wow. I really did not like him as a player for his entire career before he came to the Sharks. I saw him in that jersey. He represented that jersey as well as anyone ever has. The red V. Like, go back to, when did you guys start? 08, whenever it was. Go back that
1999.
I'm talking about the Dragons. The Dragons, the original red V. This guy represented them so well. Like, he was such a proud Dragon. You know that, right? Everyone knows that.
Yes,
you don't know that.
Of course, yeah.
And then for whatever reason, you decided you didn't want him. Okay, that's interesting. And out of all the clubs, he comes to Cronulla. And don't forget, back at that time, the rivalry was so much stronger than it is like right at this moment. Like right at this moment, I'd say it's pretty kind of tame, to be honest. Like you and I are kind of
10 straight.
It up. But it's well, no, I just mean like there is still a
Yeah.
thing that the local derby is still a thing, but back then it was like out of control. So for Lance Thompson to come to Cronulla at that point blew my mind.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I'd feel. And then in the first derby against you guys, he scores the first try of the game. And he gets up with a cheeky smile, and that was it. I was like, I'm in. This is amazing. And he was
He's one of
really
us
good for
now.
us. Yeah, he was really good for us for a couple of years. He brought along a lot of the young fellas because he was a veteran at that point, but he really put
Yeah.
in. And I just loved everything it represented. I was like, we got your biggest guy, like we got your fan favorite. He
Yeah.
captain? He must have been
Well, he
captain at
did.
some
Yeah,
point.
he was captain. I remember, like, as a Steelers fan, watching him. I think made his debut in like '94 as an 18-year-old,
Mm,
and just was straight into the team, and
yeah,
just never looked back. Like, it was just an impressive young kid that was playing first grade against like that '94, '95 era, like some of the forwards that were running around
yeah,
there, like the back end of some great teams. You saw the back end of that Broncos dynasty, like mini dynasty. You got the Canberra Raiders '94. You got the Bulldogs. Like, you've got some solid Sydney teams that he was coming up against, but felt like he held his own and might have gone in and out of first grade a bit, but not too much. Like, he
yeah.
was strongly touted. Like, maybe got Rookie of the Year that year, the Norwich Rising Star Award or whatever it was called back then. Um, shout out to Elsgood, Matt Rodwell, who were probably the winners before him. But
I mean,
yeah,
I have
he was
to
great.
I'll give you a spoiler, Brooksy, and our listeners. I haven't
Yeah.
picked Cam McInnes as one of these three players, right? So I haven't done that. But
Yeah.
when we got Cam McInnes, it was
Same.
almost a similar feeling.
Yeah.
Like he'd been at South before, so take that out of it.
Yeah.
But we took your captain and
Yeah.
one of your best players. So just watching him closely at Cronulla over those few years, yeah, he really was a lot better player than I gave him credit for. And I just think it
Yeah.
was such a great move. I understand that, I'll just go to across the bridge. It's close to where I live, probably whatever. He probably lived in Cronulla for all I know, but
Yeah.
he was also pretty cheeky. Like, imagine going to your arch enemy. It happens in sport. It just doesn't happen every day or
Yeah.
every
It
year, you know?
happens quite a bit. Yeah.
So yeah, that was my guy, Lance Thompson. He's my third most important / favorite move. Do you want to keep talking a bit, or do you want to do your number two?
Oh, let's keep talking about the game.
Let's talking.
I'm gonna confess here. I actually did pick some Dragons to Sharkies because
Oh,
of
okay. Okay.
just that reason, Shinazzi. Like, I think that with
It's your
this
game. You can do
exercise,
however you want.
I was
Yeah.
looking at it and I was like, this is a problem. This has been a
Okay.
problem with the Dragons, like losing their talent,
Okay.
and the two
Okay.
other guys I'll mention later. But yeah,
Okay.
let's go into 2025 and we'll go back again a bit later. But
Tell me who of the young fellas has impressed you this year, whether it was earlier in the year or in the last few weeks out of the Dragons. Who has Flano brought in and is doing a decent job for you so far?
Yeah, I think we've seen a couple of guys like these has given quite a few debuts, and I'll go like Sione for now has been good. Unfortunately, we're losing him to Canberra. We lost
Mm.
Tamale last year. We're losing for now this year. We've got the Couchman brothers who have now are out for
Wait,
the season.
hang on a sec.
Brian
Hang
lost
on a sec.
early. Toby.
Tamale was a Dragon.
Yeah, yeah, he played one game with the Dragons last year, late in the season. He got a debut, but was on
Eesh.
his way to Canberra.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Yeah,
So this is to my point about
yeah,
he went to high school in Manly, Tamale, but he was in the Dragon system for
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of years. But yeah, there has been some good signs in terms of juniors getting runs. Like, we've seen Loco Pacific Tonga get a debut. We've seen the Couchman brothers. Tonga's back in Pacific Tonga's back in reserve grade. The reserve grade team's going quite good.
I
Had a
know.
draw with the Warriors, who had won 13 straight last week. So there's some good signs in the Reggies. Couchman brothers, as I mentioned. Ryan was out early in the season with an ACL. Toby's out with the shoulder reconstruction. He's just been played banged up like week in, week out of the last
Yeah.
like 3 months. So it's disappointing. He's on a good trajectory. Dylan Egan, we saw do an ACL up against Brisbane in Brizzy at Suncorp.
Yeah.
So some good young guys. Sagranis made his debut in the derby in the first one this year. Haven't seen
Mhm.
him back in first grade since. He's been back down to reserve grade. We've got some other guys that are on the precipice. We've got Hayden Buchanan, who's jersey number 18 this week. He's a young, sort of stocky centre that hailed from Gerringong. He's been in the reserve grade team, killing it. And we've also got a left edge, Jacob Halangahu, who's been in the under 20s New South Wales side the last few years, showing some promise. He's been on the extended bench in the last few months, but hasn't cracked the 17 or 18 really over those past months. So there's some young guys coming through. There was another guy, Viliami Fafita, that the Dragons got in a trade for Aaron Woods a few years ago. He's been in and out of that sort of first grade squad, played probably a handful of games off the bench, nothing too
Yeah.
serious. But yeah, there's all these young guys that have been getting opportunities this year, and that's been a promising sign. And apart from the Dolphins thumping in recent times, like there hasn't really been a game where they've been like outclassed to the nines. It's like they haven't been flogged, like you said. Lost by 4, lost by 7, lost by 2, lost by 6, won by 6.
Yeah.
They could have
Yeah.
gone 4-1, but were 1-4, and closing games have been an issue. But that's when they've had a few injuries. These young guys have come in, probably haven't missed a beat too much, but they're getting 40, 50 extra minutes in NRL and starting to get a bit of a taste for it. So there is promise for next year, and I think
Yeah.
that's what this year was about. That they've been able to give debuts to quite a few players this year, and at the same time be somewhat competitive. But yeah, they've got to make some improvements. Got to make the 7 years straight, Schnaz, out of finals. 2018. What's doing?
Let's talk Dan Atkinson. Where do you see him next year?
Yeah,
Whereabouts? What position?
he's got to be the focal point. He's got to play where he plays his best footy. And I wanted to see this year to sort of see where that would be, but we haven't had an opportunity to see Daniel Atkinson play in his best position, really. And whatever that is, I'd like to know. We saw June 30 came and went, and
Yeah.
he still stayed in the Sharkies, and that's fine. That's all right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Sharks are in a better position to play finals footy. I'm sure he wants to leave on a high. He wants to get that second premiership for the Sharkies, and yeah, it's been disappointing from the outside looking like in at the Sharks and keeping an eye on how Daniel's been going, and it's like 14 minutes. Did not get
I
on the
can tell
field.
you, a lot of Sharks fans are disappointed in how he's been used. And when I say that, for example, last week was the kind of the situation that's happened a lot of the weeks for him this year. He comes on the field for 10, 15 minutes tops and he plays as a middle. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're not a middle, dude. So we're not really sure what the coach is doing there, but his best position would be 6, I would think.
Yeah, and I think that's where they've got to make a decision with King Tonga, like where who's going to be the 6, who's going to be the 7. Like Flanagan
Well,
started at 6 at the start of the year with Ilias, um,
okay.
and he's made the move as he dropped Ilias and brought King Tonga in. But yeah, I think he's going to be a massive X factor for you guys at the back end of the year. He's going to be fresh. Like what he's I'm looking since the Derby, Schnaz, he's played a half of footy. He's played 40
Yeah, but
minutes.
he can be as fresh as he wants. I'm telling you right now, he's not a middle. So it's like, unless
No,
he
no,
gets a
I
shot
understand that.
somewhere else, like I'm not knocking him. I think he's a really good footballer, but and I
Yeah,
sort of understand why the coach does it, but I'm not a fan of it. I think I'd rather just have a fourth forward, and then
yeah,
the utility can be at Sifa Talakai or Brayley can go to a halfback and McInnes. Like there's lots of different ways to do the whole thing. You know what I mean? I don't think you
yeah.
need Atkinson there because that's why he's there. He's there for safety for all these different positions.
Yeah.
And he can play all those positions, but he doesn't necessarily play them all amazingly. Like, he's not an amazing winger. He's not an amazing center. He's a pretty good fullback, pretty
Yeah.
good half.
Yeah.
He could probably do hooker, but he's coming on as a as a lock, basically. So it's interesting, man. Like, I don't know how he would view this season. I think he wants to be involved, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. So I think next year he could play halfback and Flano could play six. You
Yeah.
could swap that
Yeah.
around. Don't forget his match-winning performance against Melbourne last year. Down on Troops, he led them around.
And
Another
this
good game
year,
against
you could
Newcastle.
say,
And
you could
this
say
year
he was pretty instrumental in that win, but it'd be some hell of a coaching job if he just comes on late August, early September, mad
Yeah.
X Factor vibes, and just steers Sharkies to wins at the back end of games where players have been banged up for 26
I
weeks. He
I
comes
hope he
on, he's
does.
fresh as a daisy. He's like, and because that's you got to think about that too. I think having someone like that, I don't
Yeah.
think many teams have a player like that who hasn't had that many minutes under his belt, probably fresh as just being able to rip in finals. He might be not playing 20 and 12-minute stints. He might be, just he's got this. He might be coaching. He might be just ready to rip like something that we haven't seen yet. He's had up his
He's pretty
sleeve
young.
for the finals.
He's pretty young in the case of the Dragons. Like,
Yeah,
I think he's like early 20s. So he's not coming to you without a future. And he's done a
yeah,
lot of cool stuff. He's been in the Melbourne system.
yeah,
He's been with us, had some great times with us. So you're
yeah,
getting a good player. It's just a matter of how I would hate, put it this way, I'd hate for Flanagan Senior to go, oh yeah, he's a middle replacement forward. Like, if that happens,
yeah,
then throw it out, forget about it. But hopefully he's coming there as a half.
yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah, or maybe
I'm
just
confident that
as a mad utility, but a utility
yeah.
that comes on and replaces the hooker or does something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think we sort of talked about this last time, Shinazzi, and I was like, where do you like what would be the perfect scenario for him as a 14, like how you'd want Fitzy to use him? And I think you were saying that it would be more of a second half sort of player, like he wouldn't be playing 60 minutes. It was more, but given a decent go to change the game in the back end of matches to try and steal wins, right?
Yeah, but not as a middle running forward.
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
maybe to give Brayley a spell, but Brayley doesn't really need a spell. That's the kind of other
Oh,
thing.
mate,
So
that was
oh,
going to be my next topic. Like we're
let's go. Let's
um,
go.
I was thinking like if we had awards right now for player of the year, like they're probably going to two hookers, all right? Blake
Yeah.
Brayley's been amazing. Like he just
Yeah.
has. And it's shown in the last few weeks how important Fanua Blake's signing's been to unleash him to be able to get him out and the forwards that have run off the back of Fanua Blake, him just being able to react to quick play the balls and get you guys down the field. And also, once you're in that good position, he's been able to be that third point of attack to be able to set up
Yep.
plays, like whether it's crash plays, knowing where to go, like just being instrumental in a lot of the tries for the Sharkies over the last 4 weeks. And that has definitely been an eye opener, not just from a Dragons fan, but across the league. Everyone's been
Yeah.
talking about him. Smokey for
Yeah.
Ashes tour if they need
Yeah.
to take a hooker. Reece Robson wasn't that impressive. Harry Grant will definitely be there, but you probably need to consider taking two hookers if Harry
Yeah, for
goes
sure.
down. So this is the ball's in his court whether Kevy wants to take him over there, and I think he deserves it at the moment. Like he definitely deserves a chance to be able to go over there because he has been one of the elite hookers in the game. And it's a bit disappointing being a Blues fan, seeing someone in blue ripping it up post Origin, and just
Yeah.
that was something that they probably needed in those last two games that might have got him over the line. Reece was good defensively and he was doing his job, but yeah, Blake, maybe it was an opportunity. Maybe it might have been too big of a task for him coming up against the Queensland side, but he's been your best. And the funny thing for us, like, and I won't touch on it too much, but Jacob Little's probably been our best player, and he's been coming off the bench playing 30 minutes, which is something that you would like to see in Atkinson, being able to
Yeah,
change games and keep Sharkies, in touch if they're behind or kick ahead by some insane plays that Jacob Little's done. Like, there's been some amazing tries
he's
from
been
him
good.
from our own
Yeah,
half, even just creating line breaks and us scoring off the next play. He's just been really good, and he has worked well with Damien Cook as well in some of those games. So I think that's definitely going to be a players to watch on Saturday. And if the track it's a good track, there's going to be some movement out at dummy half, mate. I think it should be fun to watch.
so Brayley has been getting better and better every year, and he's won,
Yeah.
I think, the Player of the Year for the Sharks at least 2 years in a row. It might be three.
Oh,
And
there you go.
his running has gotten better each year. So last year you would say he's probably run
Mm.
the most he has in his career, but this year it's gotten even better. So there's a bit of a untrue feeling amongst some people that he's off contract and his form is starting to peak. And it's like, well, that's got nothing to do with it. Like,
Yeah.
he's just been really, really amazing. And sure, last month has been incredible, but there's been a lot of signs that has been coming his way, and just a super, super good guy, and one of my favorite players at the moment. Like, probably for the last couple of years, he's been one of my favorites, and
Yeah.
it's we all know what it's like when you follow a guy and he's a bit maligned in some circles, and other circles it's like, oh yeah, he's pretty good, but he's your guy, and then you see him just rise, and
The
it's
potential.
like yeah, you
Yeah.
follow him for the highs and lows. Like, so I've got the proud father thing going, like, my boy Blake, like, how good's he going? So um,
Yeah.
but yeah, a real difference maker, and absolutely AFB's helped him along the way too. Like, and
Yeah.
AFB's had a sensational year. Some people are sort of saying, like, when's he gonna hit his stride? It's like, what are you talking about? He's hit his stride, and he's fine every
This
week.
is
He's like,
him.
this is
Yeah.
him every week. 160 meters offloads, not many missed tackles,
Post
like
contact
big minutes,
meters, like through the
post
nose.
contact.
Yeah.
So he's been really, really great for us. Like, no regrets there. He's been incredible. So, but you're right. Like, Jacob Little's been really good off the bench, and I didn't know he was that good. I started noticing him last year, but he's been really strong this year. Do you think he overtakes Cookie at some point as the main fella?
I don't think so. I don't think that's the plan, and I don't think that should be the plan. I think I like the way that he's handled it. To Flano's faults, I think you've got to give him credit for how he's handled the nine situation, and I think that was the big reason why he brought Cook in to be able to start Cook, bring them both on, give Little a bit of time by himself, like have that mix up. And that that's exactly what you want to see with your footy team. You want them being unpredictable, and so like the Dragons have been a predictable side.
Yeah,
They've been a team that have, I guess, in relativenessly been boring in the league. Like they're
yeah,
not didn't show attack like the Storm, like Manly have done in over the last decade. To you guys, like we talked about some of the plays that you guys have done last few times we've spoken. Like, it's impressive. Like the scrum plays, the set plays down the right, the angles that are being run. It's such a good watch. Like, we've seen it
yeah,
with the Dolphins this year. They've built that team in 2 years, and they're
yeah,
playing some of the best attacking footy that we've seen in recent seasons from a team that hasn't played finals before. But the Dragons have been that side that, been predictable, just out the back, not much versatility. Like, you even see it in some games with Kyle and Lycan. It's just bringing guys back under. It's just so boring.
yeah,
It's not actually you're sort of trying to wear a team down, but you don't have the attributes of skill and speed that can break down sides. Like Tyrell Sloan, he's another chat like that we can have. He's coming second as a try scorer. And yeah, some of them
yeah,
have been, some great plays down the right. Moses Sully's been awesome to be next to in attack. I think he's been someone that he's benefited playing next to, being on that right wing. But at the same time, he can score from our own half. Like, he
yeah,
can pick up a loose ball. He gets into gets into space, and you can't stop him. He's one of the quickest in the league, over 50. And the sad thing is, we've seen this movie before, Shinaz. We've seen it with Jay Field. We've seen it with Matt Duffy. We're sort of seeing it with Tyrell Sloan, that they've got defensive, or they're just not big enough, and they're going to just be played out of the league because they just don't have a certain attribute. They've got the attack, they've got the flair, they score these awesome tries. We've seen Jay Field ripping it up over in Super League. We've seen Matt Duffy do the same and have
Yeah, but
those
it's
moments
it's
when they've
up
played
to
NRL. But
it's up to the coaching and
it's,
the player themselves to
yeah,
really
yeah,
lift. Like, you need to be able to defend.
yeah. Oh, it's a
Like,
massive part of the game.
we saw him targeted. Was it the Bulldogs game? Yeah, and
Yeah, they're just
you know
Galvin lobbed
that
him like he just ran
that
in, and
it was a
yeah,
bad choice. I know that people were really harsh
battery.
on him, and other people were defending him, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it was a bad decision. And so
for
I
sure.
think in that respect, like, you just need to improve. Like, I could tell you that Ronaldo Mulatalo wasn't the best defending winger in the world for a long time.
Yeah,
He still isn't, but he's improved a lot. Like, it's just, I think if you're going to
yeah.
be the lifer in the NRL, you need to, like, I understand what you're saying, but Matt
Mm.
Duffy had a bad defensive lapse. Like,
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's unfortunate because his attack was fantastic. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think that at least he's with a good coach who knows defense. Like, Flano knows how to defend. So if he's going to learn, he'll learn
yeah,
under him. If Flano gives him the chance, of course.
yeah.
Let's go to our second choice for our little game that we're
Ooh,
playing. Dragons and
yeah.
Sharks, who have represented both. Would you like to go again, sir? Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go next because he has been mentioned, and I did screw up my own game. I'm going a dragon that went to the Sharks.
Sure, sure, sure.
And he wasn't a junior, and you did mention he came from the Rabbitohs, but
Ah,
it has to be Cam McInnes as my number two. He was the heart and soul of that 2018 side. I like honestly, Shanaz, I love that side. It had Paul McGregor, my namesake, as you can see here, as the coach, and had such a quality side. Like, not only just veterans, but young rookies coming through. Zach Lomax, Reece Robson, the halves were Widdop and Hunt. They spent so much money getting Ben Hunt down from Brizzy after 2015. And it was like, we're going to trust him. He's been to grand finals. He's had moments in grand finals, but we think this is the pair. And, we saw in 16 and 17, oh, sorry, it was 17 and 18. We saw that combination. Unfortunately, in that week one final where we tore Brisbane apart, Widdop did his shoulder, and that was
yeah,
basically the end of his NRL career. And I,
yeah,
I only think he played a year and a half at Warrington thereafter once he left the NRL. But that Widdop Hunt, I remember being at Cogger with you one game where the Dragons tore you guys apart, and it was impressive. And you were only a couple of years off a premiership. Like, it wasn't like Sharkies
yeah,
went
yeah,
in a total rebuild or anything. And it was
yeah,
like, far out, this might be our time. Like, we were a field goal away for a prelim after going down 13-12 to the Sharkies. And remember, Cam McInnes was one of those guys, and like Tyson Frizzell, who were just making the hustle plays. Frizz made one of the strips that got one of the field goals for the Dragons. And then Cam McInnes did a massive charge down in the game. And that's something that the Dragons have been missing, that heart, that soul,
yeah,
we've got this team, right, where they miss the fewest tackles, they're a good defensive side, they're losing close games, but they don't have those guys that can go and make those massive plays. Like, Gutho sorta had that at the start of the year, but he's waned in the back end of the year. And
yeah,
it's like we have been in these games where we need to lock them down, and we just haven't. And it's usually the likes of Tyson Frizzell or Cam McInnes that do it. And you guys have probably seen the benefits of that with Cam McInnes, not to the extent of where he was at the Dragons back then in like 2017, 2018, but definitely see some of those hallmarks in some of the games where you've gone. He was one of our best, right? And it's not
yeah.
because he was setting up tries, because
No,
he's just doing the dirty work
even
and doing those one percenters, chasing
on the
kickers, like just
weekend,
putting pressure on.
against Cowboys, he was really good. He's
Yeah.
not in our top three every week, but he's like not far. And I'm a huge fan one of the privileges I've had is to get to go chat with these guys on a weekly basis, and whenever Cam's up, like I think you would have interviewed him on SEN, right? But he's just so matter of fact and so businesslike, and just, sorry, I shouldn't say businesslike. He's so honest, but he takes it so seriously. Like, he takes the game so seriously, and it's all about the effort and the attitude. And you just feel like after talking with him, you feel like you would go to war. Terrible expression. You feel like you'd run through
I know what you
a big
meant.
war. You know, like he's just
relative
that
war.
guy. Like he carries that with him. Like, that's who he is. Like, he just doesn't mean he doesn't have a laugh or whatever. Like, he's around the community a lot. He's a beautiful dad, but just as a footballer, he's exactly what I want in a guy captaining my team. Like, he's fantastic. And not the biggest athlete that ever played the game, but he'll make you 10 to 15 meters every time. He's tough. And I'm a big fan. I still can't believe you let him go. He wasn't and isn't on big money at the Sharks relative to his career and relative to his ability. Like, we got him for a steal over 4 years. So that's
it's
a pretty
enabled
big
you to
bugger up.
go after Fanua Blake, right? Like, and that's where good recruitment, getting players like that who they're content, right? You get a good bargain in someone that's not bursting your cap, but they're actually bursting at the seams when it comes to effort, leadership, all that sort of stuff. Like, they're the sort of players you need. And we've talked about him before, Shinazzi, and we talked about, like, I took my hat off at Cronulla going after him. I don't know what the hell Anthony Griffin was thinking, and it might have been that he was tight with Mary and he wanted to bring in his own leaders. And you can make that happens in business, right? It does. Like, and sport is business now. NRL, multi-million-dollar corporation, there's sport involved, and the coaches need to make decisions to go, look, I've been brought in here for change. Mary's team did some good shit, but I'm going to take us to the prelim. I'm going to take us to grand finals, and this is my vision. Unfortunately, that vision that Anthony Griffin had was not what was required for the Dragons. They had the pieces there, and we've talked about patience in players. We talked about it, that you said with your wingers, that the Sharkies have one of the best wing combinations, and it's been through, you know, peaks and troughs, right? There's been moments with Ronaldo, there's been moments with Sione, but you've stuck by them, and they've both scored a hell of a lot of tries, and more so than they've conceded. But that's been the disappointing part of this last 7 years, that the decisions that were made there post Mary have put Flano in a really tough position too. And he would have liked to have made finals year one, but he's going to have to wait for year three. And it's because they've let go of players like Cam McInnes. And I can only take my hat off at the guys that jumped at the opportunity, like you mentioned about Lance Thompson before.
Yeah, and the fact that it was kind, in all seriousness, was kind for the Dragons to let him go early with his ACL, and he got to rehab at Cronulla.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is also poor management, because that gave him half a year advantage to get to know his teammates, the game plan, the whole thing. Like, why would you do that? It was just, the whole thing was a mess.
Certainly was.
All right,
You guys
my
benefited,
guy.
and then you've never stopped beating us.
That's right. That's right. I guess he hasn't lost the game to them, maybe. My guy is going to be, my number 2 is going to be Jack Bird.
Wow.
Now,
Yes.
so some people are probably scoffing, going, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Jack
You don't
Bird,
get the game, Schnaz.
I don't get the game. Here is why.
But you do.
Here is why. An absolute superstar at the junior level, spoken about amongst anyone who talks about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
At the time, televised on TV, which we've spoken about, NYC. Dragons going really well. And there's one kid carrying them the entire way, and he's a lock kind of back rower, sometimes other positions, but mainly mainly a lock, mainly a floating lock, and it's Jack Bird. And there's not much of him, but he's full of attitude and really good skill. And as soon as we signed him, which was when he was still playing NYC for you guys, I took very close attention to what he was doing, and I couldn't believe it. I saw all the attributes that we'd see a year later. I saw them in that last season with you guys in the under 20s, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Okay, cool. And so Shane Flanagan brought him over in 2015, and he was on the bench for a couple of games. Maybe he played Reggie's, then was on the bench. He didn't make his debut for a tiny little bit. Yeah. And I think we had a poor start to that season. And I think it was around 5 game against the Roosters at the SFS. And we were down, and was sort of like, it wasn't must win, but you really wanted to win to get your season going in 2015. And Jack Bird single-handedly won that game for him. It was a 4:00 game. Gus Gould was going off his tree about Jack, but it was a really great performance. It was like, oh, wow, okay, this is pretty amazing. And by this time, Val was playing first grade, and they were the two kids in a pack full of veterans. A team full of veterans. And he played center mostly in the first 2 years, and within the second year they'd won the premiership. Now we'll fast forward a bit because we've got, we're not going to do a 4-hour episode, but amazing 2015 season. And then 2016 comes around. It's a championship team, and he plays a pivotal role, creating all this space for Valentine Holmes, and just clinical most weeks. In the grand final, injures his shoulder really bad, plays on. You don't really hear about it much, but it's one of those efforts. I would put it in with your Burgesses and all those other champion guys that shouldn't be playing and they are playing. Jack Bird played with like one shoulder for I don't know, maybe 60, 50 minutes of that game, and still did really good things in the grand final. So he didn't leave on great terms. It got a bit messy. The parents were in the media talking about it. He wanted the money. He got the money at Brisbane. He was very injury prone.
The knees, man.
Well, and just he had arthritis. He has arthritis. Yeah. But just those couple of years in particular, I mean, I'm not saying they don't win the comp, but boy, oh boy, he like a lot of the guys were integral. And I just think it's another, boo-boo by your guys for letting him go. I don't even think we threw a whole chunk of change at him, to be honest.
No, probably not.
At that point, he hadn't played first grade.
Well, it was probably good savvy recruitment, where it was like the Dragons probably saw that he was a good player, but maybe didn't have the skill set that would have translated to NRL. He had the arthritis. There was probably negative things keeping him out of the team. They probably had other players that they sort of focused in on. It was a great get. He ended up going to the Dragons eventually, after debuting down to the Steelers and Dragons under 20s. But it'd be an interesting career looking back on Jack Bird, don't you think? Like, even he was brought in as a bit of a premiership winner with a bit of experience to the Tigers team, that had seen a few spoons, and he's, I guess, a bit of a glue guy for them. But definitely showed some signs at the Sharks, mate. Was he a Rookie of the Year winner, or he went pretty close from memory?
I shouldn't say. I don't remember that, but and again, like, without like being a head swell, that year, Newman and I got to hang out with the team a lot, and we got to know him and Val in particular, and you could just see the way they carried themselves. These two cheeky buggers who knew they were really good. They weren't at all bad people or anything. They were just very cheeky, very confident.
Yeah.
They'd challenge you to anything. Hey, you want to play basketball? No, I can't play basketball. Come on, let's play one-on-one. No, I'm not playing one-on-one with you.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous statement. Like, just they're very competitive guys, and you saw it out in the field. And yeah, a huge recruitment for us from you guys. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Good pinch, that one.
Yeah. So 3 o'clock this week, NRL Dub is beforehand. So 2 derbies, which is going to be awesome. And must win for Dragons. I think it's getting close to must win for the Sharkies if they want to finish 4th. Yeah. Now, tell us about what you think is going to happen, how it's going to go down, what you need to do to win.
Ooh. That's a tough one, Shaz. Like, I've thought about like the game plan, and I think they've got to definitely look at the last time they played, and definitely take some of the stuff that they did in the first 40, and make sure they don't emulate the stuff they did in the second 40. I think the hot start, come out strong, like use the momentum off the back of a solid win against the Raiders, their best win of the season, to try and turn it into 2 and get the Sharkies off guard. We've seen games where the Sharks have played 40 minutes, like where they've either started strong or finished strong, or like the bunny circumstance. Like the last 2 weeks, let's look at that. You guys were freaking dominant in the first half, but you had nothing to show for it. And then you came up against a Cowboys team that just wasn't up for the game, even though it was a Paul Green medal, like it was a Paul Green Cup. Like it was crazy to see that with some of the caliber of players they've got in their side. So the Sharkies sort of have had a bit of inconsistency with these wins. The Roosters in particular, the Dolphins, as we talked about, where it was a bit of a Sharkies might have been shitting themselves there in the second half, and potentially going 3 straight in the L column. But yeah, I think that's the key. The Dragons need some sort of 80-minute performance against the Sharkies, and they'll be buoyed by, there should be a good turnout there. But like that's been the issue with the Dragons. These derbies, they've predominantly been Sharks fans there. Like that's a disappointing thing. And they need to get some momentum here, not just for this season, but for next. They need to show incoming players, potential free agents, like their fans and members, that they're for real, that they can actually make the finals. It's been such a disappointing run, Schnaz, in so many different ways. Crowds are being down, memberships are down, results are down. Like it has been a really tough time to be a Dragons fan, because it's been mediocre. It's not even mediocre. They haven't even been average. Like they've been below average. And that's the thing about this competition. You cannot be like that. They've built it so you can bounce back quite quickly, but they haven't. And they've got this coach in that's won a premiership. And you just talked about the savvy recruitment of getting like a Jack Bird, being able to get to a team like the Melbourne Storm and just lock them down in a grand final. Like that was such an awesome grand final to watch. It was similar to last year's grand final with Penrith and Melbourne, where it was like just a massive arm wrestle. And that's what Flano has brought, the arm wrestle, to the Dragons this year. And they just need to be in it for 80 minutes. It needs to be a legit arm wrestle. They can't just go for 40 and then just drop off. And that's what we've seen too many times this year with the Dragons. This is a derby. Let's stop them getting into the 4. Let's try and at least keep this alive. Who knows? Who knows what results can play out and potentially give the Dragons a path into 8. They shouldn't never say never. They were in a position last year. They somehow lost it. Let's flip it around this year. Let's somehow not be in a position, and we're like hopefully a chance into freaking sneaking into the 8, Schnaz, and playing you 5v8 week 1. How does that sound?
What about that?
And we do
At
another
Shark
potty.
At Shark Park, of course.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see what the NRL has to say about 8,000 people for a finals game.
Brooksy, did you hear that the Australian, I'm going to get this wrong, but motocross or some sort of motorbike situation is happening in October at Cronulla? How good's that?
Yeah, and have you already got some pre-sale tickets, Shaz, or
I don't, but I'll definitely take the boy down there and we'll check it out. You
yeah.
know, who doesn't love
When
watching some
is it
bikes go
September?
around?
Is it September? Have they got is it a bit James Maloney 2016 brothers wedding sort of areas? Like we won't
What
be playing
about
any
that?
footy here in September. What are you talking about? Yeah, yeah,
What about that?
put the motocross on.
One of the
Yeah,
great stories, Brooksy.
that was a great league life episode, wasn't it? When I told you that information.
Yeah, so Brooksy knew that James Maloney's brother was getting married. Was it day of or day before? Day before.
It was the Saturday before the grand
Yeah,
final. That was the only
October
time
1.
they could get the venue organised.
Amazing. Amazing. And it got closer and closer. And it's like, Jimmy, you
He's
can't
like,
be
we're
there,
not
bro.
making the finals.
Now,
But yeah.
yeah.
Well, Schnaz, what do you think? What do you think? Like, this is the SharkCast. I shouldn't be talking
Yeah,
so much about the Dragons.
no, you're
What do
good.
you think about the Sharkies? Like, you've seen some really good things in the last 4 weeks. You saw some really good
Yeah.
stuff in the second half of the first derby of 2025. What
Yeah.
do you want to see from the Sharkies? A bit different from the last few weeks, even though they've got the wins against the Bunnies and the Cowboys that they need to do
Yeah.
against the Dragons. Will be coming in hot.
I think you've nailed it. Whoever plays longer is going to win this game. And the Cowboys game, I know that they didn't go on with it points wise, but the Cowboys had all the ball and they scored 2 tries from kicks in 40 minutes. I wasn't really that bummed by it. So um, I just want to see us play for longer moments. And
Mm.
yeah, I was speaking to a couple of guys today, which people can hear on the feed of the podcast. I think it was Teague Wilton who said last week was the closest we'd gotten to playing a full game for a long time. So they're sort of trending the right way. They know what they have to
Yeah.
do. They've got a really good coach. So it's just about putting it into practice, you know. And I quizzed all 4 guys I spoke to today about what happened with the defense to make it so good the last 4 weeks as opposed to the 4 weeks before that where it was really bad.
Yeah.
And they just sort of they spoke about execution and attitude. A couple of guys mentioned that they know they can do it, but it's harder to practice that sometimes. And I think they're on a really good trend now. So as long as they go forwards and not backwards as far as how they're playing week to week, I think they're going to be fine against the Drags. But I think the Drags, they might complete really well and they might offload. They might do little things that we're not doing that good. So
Yeah. Little
I'm a little
things. Yeah, I like it.
a
Well
little
said.
things. I'm a little concerned about that kind
A
of
little
area. Like
concerned.
I'm a little concerned.
Are
If
we, is this a player to watch sort of subtle?
if Little plays well, I think if
Yeah.
Flano gets them up and they come out firing, and you guys pounce first, I think that'll make it pretty interesting. I hope that we score first, but if you guys go first, I think you might get a bit of a fire under your belly for the next sort of half an hour of that first half, and
Yeah.
it'll make it interesting. I don't expect a flogging. I know in the past few times at Cogra we've absolutely soaked you. It's been hilarious, but I don't think that's
Soaked.
happening. Like was it last year or the year before? We put 50 on you. It was just I don't say this.
I can't remember that
I
one,
don't I
Shanaz. I
don't
don't
say
think
it.
that happened.
It had definitely happened. I don't say it
Yeah.
lightly, but honestly, leaving it felt like a funeral, dude. Like it was like there was no
That's
hope.
what that's why you
It
got to start
might have
strong,
been
right? It's so
pre-Flanagan.
important
Yeah.
because when you're hitting a fan base like the Tigers or the Dragons or like the old Bulldogs, like if you hit them early, the crowd's just like
Yes.
seen this before. Why
Yeah.
do I bother? Why do I bother
Yeah.
bringing my rank signs? Why do I bother doing the fake siren at halftime? Like, that's the attitude. We go because we love the team, we wear the
Why do I
jerseys, we
bother
love the
throwing a hot
logo.
pie at someone
But then
else?
when it gets to game time and you see a quick try, you just go, oh. But that's been a good thing about the Dragons too. Like when someone scored early, they've sort of bounced back. We saw it in the Roosters game that we that we hung around there. Like it was
Okay.
like Roosters just went bang and Dragons went bang. There was like 5 tries in the opening like 14 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah.
it was like a, it was a pretty fun opening 20 to watch because you just didn't know, oh, we going to score next? Are they going to score? It was just it was exciting. But yeah, that's I think the Sharkies need to do what they did to the Cowboys and just like just make sure they strangle them. If you're going to drop the ball, we're going to make you pay. And that's
Yeah.
what I guess the Dragons are going to do that with the Sharkies. If you don't get out of your own half, they can't be just like, just going through the motions, putting up shit kicks, or just put them under pressure, get into point scoring opportunities. Like you got some talent, they got some talented guys. I don't know what's really happened with Gutho's attack, like since the start of the year. Like he was so pivotal, and now he's sort of faded away, and
I
it
think he's
hasn't
just
really
getting
been
on, man. I
Gutho.
don't want to. I don't
Yeah,
want to
he
jinx things, but
is.
he's an older
Yeah,
player. These things
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Um,
But he was
I think
by the
it'll
year.
be
Remember, we were talking by the year
well. You
with
might have been.
Gutho, and I
I
don't
think
know.
we
He
were.
was legitimately a by the year candidate. Not saying that's a Dally M award or something you see at
Not
the
for the
Logies. It's just
not
like
for the
you
money.
said.
Not for the money you're paying him, dude. You're paying him way too much money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's been the MO of the Dragons a lot. Like, which player does someone not want and will pay 150 to 200 more than
I
everyone
mean,
else offers? Like the Adam Dewey situation at the moment. Look, don't get me wrong. Adam
good player.
Dewey, what a great story. If it was comeback
Good
player of the
player.
year like the NFL Schnaz, he would be a candidate for that. He's been instrumental in wins. I think he's single-handedly pretty much given them 3 of the wins this year. It's his first season where he's getting through without an injury. It's great to see. What do the Dragons do? Oh, we'll offer him like 400 or four. Like, it's
So
like,
what?
what are we doing here?
How
Like, this
how
isn't
high
the
would
right
you
play. This
how high would you go for him?
I wouldn't even entertain going for him. And that's out of respect of Adam going, I think he's a Tiger. I don't not going out of my way to sign someone like Adam Dewey because if he does have that next injury, that might be it for him. And I'm
Yeah.
not investing 400, 450 for it. It's too risky. But if the Tigers show some faith in him and he stays there and he never has an injury again, I'm cool with that. I'm cool that I missed out on that opportunity because the
Mm,
Dragons shouldn't be playing risky plays at the moment. They should be going, getting bona fide stars, names that can sell memberships, get people to the games. I don't think stealing Adam Dewey from the Tigers is doing that. And that's
yeah.
been something that the Dragons have sort of rolled the dice with signings or gone after people who aren't wanted. Like we just got Josh Kerr back, Shaz.
Yeah. So
Like good guy, like great sense of humor, done some really good things at the Dolphins, was doing some good stuff at the Dragons when he signed with the Dolphins. But
yeah,
like,
he's okay. He's
I'm
yeah.
like, do we need Origin? Like, we need some like bona fide. Like, yes, he was in the Origin squad. I, 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 I'm
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm technically wrong there, but like, it's like, no, we need some guys that are playing like 70, 80-minute Origin games that are names
Yeah.
that are stars that bring to the club to get us excited. That when you see a post
Yeah.
for Josh Kerr, it's like, oh, he's back. That's nice. It's not like, oh, we got Payne Haas. Imagine like we got Adam Fanua Blake. We just
Yeah.
got Cam McInnes from the Dragons. We've just
Yeah.
got
No, I understand.
we've
I
signed
understand.
Nico Hines from Melbourne. Like, how good's that? Like, people wanted him.
Yeah.
There's been none of those signings for the Dragons, and that's a disappointing thing. So I
Yeah.
think hopefully, I don't know where I just went on a massive rant there, but it's like
That's okay.
hopefully these guys that they've got can stand up here and give us another highlight for the season. But I think you guys get the win. I think you guys get number 5 in a row. I'm enjoying your play. I'm enjoying seeing yeah, if can see that right side now, Schnaz. And I might have said that last time. I can't remember. There was like I was having epiphanies about where you guys were going to hit us. But I
Yeah.
think I did say the right. It didn't really happen. Sione got a couple of tries. But yeah, I think we're going to see Nicara. I think we're going to see Rami, and I think we're going to see a few tries down that right.
Okay. You might see a running Nico Hines.
Yeah. What have you thought of
Yeah,
his season? I know we've sort of discussed it. Like the
really
halves,
good,
Trindle's been good.
really
Yeah,
good,
they've been a
really
good
good.
combo, haven't they? I think
I'm really.
only.
I think
Yeah, I was going
Nico's
to say. I
been.
just. Sorry.
Go ahead. We've got a lag. It's sorted. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like maybe the Melbourne halves have been as destructive as them, like in terms of creating tries, opportunities, setting up tries. Like they're up there with the top in terms of
Yeah,
halves combos this year, right?
yeah. I mean, Nico especially has been really great. I think he's second for line break assists. He's pretty close with try assists, and generally Nico has been the more dominant half. Trindle's had moments, but I think Trindle at his worst, and I say that very loosely, he sort of is like becomes a sort of 6 out of 10 sort of half, whereas Nico is just a solid sort of 7 or above. When he's 7, people are on his back. When he's above that, they're not on his back, which is, make of that what you will. But I think Nico has been really good this year for most of the season. And he's been really good this past month. And Trindle's improved a lot as the year's gone on. And as a combo, I think they're still working it out, like it or don't. I find it a bit difficult that they're 100 games in or whatever, and they're still using that as a bit of a reason we're getting to know each other. It's like, well, okay, cool, but at some point you've got to you're the guys. You've got the keys now,
Yeah.
but they're going pretty good. I don't want to rush them, so that's fine. But yeah, I think Nico's been really good, and I said on the show yesterday that he was on 100% footy on Channel 9 this week. And I just had it on the background. And I saw Nico was on, so I turned it up. And he was just lights out with everything he said. And he hasn't done a lot of press this year, which has been good. Because
That's a
last
good
year and the year
sign.
before, all he did was press, whereas this year he's not doing any. But he went on there to promote Indigenous round, which is great.
Yeah.
And everything he said was just so like profound and matter of fact and calm. And I just thought, you know what? I'm really glad you're my halfback because you're in form, and also the way that you carry yourself is really impressive. So I think he's going pretty good at the moment, and I think for us to go a long way, he'll have to maintain that form. I think he's pretty integral, whether people want to admit that or not. I think he's pretty integral. But
It's a big week, isn't it, with Indigenous round, with the Dragons, looking to go into that top, like try and sneak into that top
yeah,
four. Warriors have got a tough game this week against the Bulldogs, so you've got to put yourself in that place. Penrith are just going to keep rolling. They've got Newcastle. I think that's a big factor that this will be rammed down their throats by Fitzy, I think. And you want to
yeah,
take it one game at a time, but
you
you
do.
got to be looking around, Joe. You got to make sure you got
Yeah.
to get in that top four.
So I
I
think
know,
is it
yeah,
Melbourne, Penrith, Melbourne play Brisbane twice. Someone plays Melbourne twice.
yep. Melbourne and
Penrith
Brisbane
plays
twice. Yeah,
Penrith plays Melbourne. The
yeah,
Dogs got a few tough ones, so there is
yeah. They
chance
got
for us to
Penrith as
keep.
well.
There's
Yeah,
a chance for us to get into that fourth spot if we keep winning, but they do have to keep winning.
yeah.
But why don't we
It starts
reveal?
here, doesn't it?
It does. It
Yeah,
does. It does every week. Like every week's going to be like this. To be honest, I say this to all of our
yeah.
listeners. It's like okay, we beat the Cowboys. Now it's about the Dragons, and we're all
Yeah.
looking ahead because it's only natural to look ahead. But you can't go past that one game. Like you can't. I can't go past Dragons. If we lose the Dragons, then it's
Yeah.
like, oh well, what does that mean? You got to do the math again and everything. It's like just win.
Yeah.
But I want to get to our number one picks.
Yeah. Oh man, it was my game and I got it all wrong when I picked
No,
my
no,
top
no. There's no
three.
rules. No rules.
But this is just to my point, this constant point of us letting guys go. This one technically didn't let him go to the Sharks, but he ticks all three boxes, which is key, Shaz.
Ah,
Illawarra Steelers, big tick.
ah.
Dragons, tick. Went to Super League for a couple of years
Hey.
and came back and finished his career at the Sharks. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I should know who you're talking about.
He
Went to
won
Super
the
League again, mate.
Dalian medal in 2000 after Anthony Mundine left the Dragons to pursue his career in boxing. In 1997, he had a remarkable season, 18 tries at the Illawarra Steelers. His record actually only got broken a few years ago by Ezra Mam when he scored 18 tries, and which included that grand final hat trick. 5'8", one of the best looking guys in the NRL has ever produced that's not named Andrew Eddinghausen. He's on the current Broncos coaching staff. His name is Brent Barrett. As a player, he was an absolute freak to watch, Naz. And
Wow.
he it was interesting because he was coming through really strong in 97 and 98 as we were preparing to die, and heading to the merger. So it was disappointing to see these young guys. We had your current coach, Craig Fitzgibbon, made his debut at the Illawarra
Yes.
Steelers in the late 90s. Was basically collateral in terms of the merger with Tracy, Bartram, Thompson, all there. He had to depart and get further his career at the Roosters. But Trent Barrett, mate, he was something special. Like we had John Simon before him, who was special in
Yeah.
his own right, kicking
Yeah.
game, just elusiveness. Just random sort of play. But Trent Barrett was a amazing talent. He was from the St Gregory's Campbelltown stables. Graham Murray brought him to the Steelers. Just unbelievable talent, the likes I'd never seen before. That got me excited again about the Steelers after we crashed out in 92 to the St George Dragons. Never made the final. We made 97 finals against the Chargers when it was all seven teams made it. But yeah, he was amazing that year. And yeah, once he got back into that six jersey, when Mundine left, you saw the best out of Trent. And it's a shame he didn't get to win a premiership. I know '05, that was the year where they
Yeah.
had all the talent coming through. You had Gasnier, Cooper, Riles, Barrett, Timmins. Like it was such a Luke Bailey, that night, that '05 team was
That
probably our best team.
that game
And
against the
that
West
was where
Tigers,
we were
man.
getting all the juniors, yeah. And I was in Canada that year, just people texting me the game, and it was
It
just
was a hell of a
disappointing
game.
because I was
Hell of a game.
considering coming back from Vancouver just for the grand final. And yeah, he was epic, mate. Like 98, 18 tries, just unbelievable. You sort of got him way too late. And
Yeah, yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
disappointing thing to see. Like you got the '99 grand finalists like Barrett and Kamali there. Wasn't that your halves through a couple of seasons? Or maybe one
I
season?
I'm assuming they played together.
Yeah.
I remember Barrett's first game. I feel like it was against Penrith. I'm sure my audience will correct me if I'm wrong. And I remember, I think he put up a bomb for himself and scored, and it was like, wow, this guy's going to be amazing. And that's kind of as good as it got. But he was always someone that competed on every play, and
Yeah.
I really respected him as a player. And again, that's one of those. It's not quite the Lance Thompson moment for me, but it's like, wow, Trent Barrett's going to be a Shark. That's huge. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot to take in. But I think he did his best with what he could. It was an aging body, but just one of those guys that they're rugby league lifers. Like, you see it now. He just can't get
Yeah.
out of his system. He wants to coach. He's got to coach. And yeah, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. For a
Yeah.
moment, I
Who
thought
was
we'd
your
pick
number
the
one,
same.
mate?
Well, for a moment, I thought we'd pick the same player, but we haven't. In
Yeah.
fact, we're worlds apart. Okay, so I picked a
Poetic.
player who I believe, I'm guessing was a Dragons junior. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but very well known at the Dragons. And outside of the Dragons, I can't speak for the Dragons. You can correct me again, but outside of the Dragons, not someone hugely respected at the time in the NRL world, particularly
Yeah.
amongst fans. You'd watch this guy play. You didn't really see the magic, but he was playing. He started. If he didn't start in the centers, he played some centers. But somehow he ended up in the front row, and he won a premiership with you guys. And then he came to Cronulla, and it was like, I don't think so. I don't think he's your guy. And then his first year wasn't great. It was just more of what you thought. But something clicked in 2015 and then 16 in particular. And without this gentleman, Sharks
Oh,
do not
yes.
win the comp.
Wow. The,
If this man does not go beast mode against
the
Canberra,
Canberra game?
we
Yeah.
don't win the
Yeah,
comp.
I know who you're talking.
So my most important dragon, of course, is
Wow.
Matt Pryor, the great Matt Pryor, who for the majority of his Sharks career was fantastic. You know, again, blessed to be in a few inner sanctum moments and got to see one of the presentations post-season of the premiership. And I saw Andrew Fafita crying on stage at how much Matt Pryor meant to him and how much Matt Pryor had taught him and how much Matt Pryor had urged him just to keep going through all the hard times. Like Big
Yeah.
Bop, the guy that actually won us the title, crying on stage. So Matt Pryor, you're my number one dragon shark. And there's
Wow.
been a lot of guys. You know, we've been through the list. There's a whole lot of guys. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So send them in and we can tell Brookesy all about it. But for me, it's Pryor one. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good selection. He was like I remember when you were saying when I was trying to work out who it was, you didn't say the era. As soon as you said the game, without that game, I was like
Won,
Canberra,
won a
Matt
won a
Pryor.
comp at two
Like it
comps.
was,
Like that's
oh
pretty good.
man,
You won a comp at
yeah,
won two comps at two clubs. That's phenomenal.
yeah, yeah.
So
2010, 2016,
I
great.
think he had a
He was
good
just,
career in England
it,
too afterwards.
yeah, it's just a shame you didn't really get to see. You saw those moments, but not the consistency of in that. But at the end of the day, when he looks back on his career, I remember that high shot he did on JT as a Dragon, and
Yeah.
it was pretty brutal. I think he might have got 8 weeks,
Yeah.
and I remember speaking with a few people at Fox about it, and one presenter who is a Dragons fan, she did mention he was going through some stuff at that time,
Yeah.
and yeah, it sort of opened my eyes to. I was still a bit naive, like I wasn't really in
Yeah.
like I'd been at Fox a few years, but you what you see on the field sometimes there's some shit going on. Like whether it's injuries, whether it's family, personal life, whatever it
Yeah.
might be. And
Yeah.
we've seen that come to the fore like quite a bit in the last decade or so, Shaz. And
Oh yeah.
like you talked about Nico before, and
Yeah.
I remember listening to one of the first Den and Kemp podcasts with Dan Hunt and how he
Yeah.
played with banged up knees and he was going out doing some damage to his career, but there was no one else to go and play because they were too
Yeah.
injured. But at the same time, he was doing shit like that was so detrimental to the longevity of his career. He was a
Yeah.
talent, and he sort of
Yeah.
he's just talent just dried up like it just did. And Dan
Yeah.
Hunt wasn't as effective as he was, quite quickly. And it showed like that Dan Hunt potty and the chat about Matt Pryor really opened my eyes to what some of these players are playing through.
Yeah.
And whether it's physical, mental, combination of both, it goes hand in hand in the sport. But yeah, it's it is a tough sport to win premierships, and he got two of them. And
Yeah.
he in the second one, he was pivotal and vital to the Sharks getting their first
And
ever premiership.
even if he hadn't have had those moments in the Canberra game, he would still be remembered as someone who really improved the older he got. Like he was one of the lessons where, oh, the prop's still got 5 years in him, don't worry. And he milked all that to the point where he was one of the guys. I think did he play Origin at some point maybe as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, I think he did. Yeah,
He sort of, at least in my circles, obviously very biased, but he went from someone
yeah,
who we thought, oh, he won't be really the guy, to like, oh, he's okay, and then something clicked, and and then even after the grand final, he was still really strong for us, and he was very consistent in that window. So it wasn't the whole career, and it wasn't even his career at Sharks, but when he hit his
yeah,
stride, he was fantastic and just super reliable, super reliable.
yeah. Oh, good,
So that's
good,
my guy.
good number one, Shinaz. Well done. I think you
Appreciate it.
win. That's
No,
10 in
no,
a
no.
row.
There's no winning.
You're going for 11 on Saturday.
There's no winning. Just a bit of fun. So we're gonna have to wrap it, Brooksy. But appreciate you
Yeah,
being on here. I mean, look, if
always
it
good,
becomes
mate.
5 versus 8, then we'll do another one. We'll do another one. 5 versus 8.
Who
I
knows?
did.
Result pending.
You
I
don't know.
may jump on around five
Yes.
10 on Saturday,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'd
I
love to. People that listen to this and then want to jump on Saturday. I'd love to go back and forth. I promise it'll be cordial. It will be
yes. It'll have to be.
respectful,
Yes.
always
Yes.
respectful.
Yes. Yes.
But there will be some. If we lose, I don't mind confident. But if we win, there might be a few. Hey, we've done it. We're back, baby.
Well, of course, we have the power of the remove
Yeah,
button if it gets out of hand. So that's up to
fair
you. But
enough.
yes,
How good's a remove button? Yeah,
it's very helpful sometimes.
yeah,
But we did,
yeah.
for all of our listeners, we did invite Brooksy before. If he chooses to jump on the post game, whatever happens, win, lose, or draw, he's obviously very welcome, as everyone else is. And
Yeah.
yeah, really appreciate everyone's support throughout the year on the show. The show's going great. Thanks to everyone who has been helping. And so that's really appreciated by me and all the other guys on the show. Brooksy, one last plug for you. SEN 24/7, but in particular, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6.
3 to 6. If you're in Sydney, 11:70 a.m. If you're in Brizzy or on the southeast Queensland part, 693. You should be able to get it down in the Goldie as well. It's 1620 down there. If you want the local station, catch us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Run Home with Joel and Fletch. Funny blokes talking rugby league and all different things. And not another effing rugby league podcast with Barney and Philpy. We're always it goes a bit next level. So this one's
Yes.
probably for
The
your adult listeners.
yes.
There
Yes.
is a bit of swearing. There's
Yes.
a lot of laughs. So yeah, being with those two guys, it sometimes you get caught up at like you think you're at a stand-up gig or something. But yeah, that's Apple, Spotify. It's a green logo, not another effing rugby league podcast. Get around us. And yeah, thanks for having me,
What
Schnaz.
Thanks for being had, as I say always. What was the drivel you were talking about today on the 3 o'clock on the SEN show? Today, was it Joel was spruiking something and you and Fletch were losing your minds about it? Was it about competition points or something?
Oh, some guy called in wanting,
Yes.
he thought that it should be 3 points for a win, 2 points
Yeah.
for a golden point win, and one
Right.
point for a golden point loss, and zero for a regulation
Right.
loss. And I was like, what if it's a draw? How many, like, after the golden point, how many points do you get? But he wanted the drop off rule where, like, you just keep taking a player off. And I'm
Oh,
like, I would not want to win on a 5-on-5 game of rugby league and that be as worth 3 points or, or two
oh,
points, should I say. It just didn't make sense. Like, drop off is just one of the worst rugby
drop off,
league
no good.
ideas ever.
No good.
Drop off.
No
If
good.
it's touch footy, yeah, fair enough. Drop off, drop off, drop on, drop it. Just drop it like it's hot, whatever you want to do. But like,
I do
it
have
was
to
just
say, though, it was
Joel
entertaining,
body.
is my point.
Yeah, yeah. We did you see there was the other one the other day where Joel was like, the alphabet, how it's like
Yes.
A, then B, and then C, and I was like, D next. Fletch was like, surely E follows. And then he's like, but what's the phonetic order? And it was like A, B, C, D, E. And he's like, but then X comes in because it's EX. Like that's how you pronounce it. And we're like, what is going on here?
What? So
It is
it
like
is
so
entertaining.
random.
It's fun
It's like,
stuff.
yeah, you just like sitting there in the room with them, just going, what is going on here? Like you plan a show for ages, and then Joel
Yeah.
comes up with the phonetic alphabet order and goes,
Yeah.
"What's
Yeah.
next?" And we go, "What is next?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just asking you guys." And I'm like, "Oh, you didn't even plan this? Like this is just off the top of your head?"
Great stuff.
Oh man, that's
SEN.
funny. And then H, what is it? H or H? And it's
Oh,
like I think like some religions say it's H, some say it's H. Like, oh, okay, let's just talk about the signing news. Dane Gagai's re-signed, boys.
so
Oh
so good.
man.
So definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, get around SEN and 3 to 6, three
Did I sell it
strong
for him?
characters. I think so. No, the point is, it's very funny, but it's not
Yeah.
all. It's not joke-a-thon because you do talk about footy. I did see that Fletch has got the Sharks going to Melbourne in week 1, so he's thinking
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
Although,
So does
although
Joel. Oh, he's got Canberra.
he's got Canberra, yeah. So we are finishing 4th, which is the good news for Sharks fans.
Fourth.
So, and you do have
Yeah.
great guests. You've had, did you have the Peach on recently?
We had Kevin Walters today. Tomorrow we've got Matty Johns on Tuesday and Thursdays. We've got Mark Schwarzer, he's on. We've got Tom Papley from the Swans. We've got Justin Horro on tomorrow. We've had Warwick Kappa. We've had we go wide, we go high, we go everywhere in terms of our
Yeah,
guests. We did
yeah,
True Crime Tuesday. We've had some
yeah.
really good true crime podcast hosts on the show. In recent times, following some of the big podcasts that have been going on, Headley Thomas, Gary Jubilin, Mark Murray, like some of the names you see in the papers and on big potties. So yeah, we do our best. Matty Rogers, Sharks legend, on every Monday with the boys and
Yes,
Scott Sattler. So it's always an
yes.
entertaining chat in that last hour. So yeah, big names,
Awesome.
big guests, big time. Come listen.
Absolutely. All right, Brooksy, thank you so much for your time. We will talk to you possibly on the weekend. Good luck. Whatever happens, we'll still be friends. That's the great news. And we will talk to all of our listeners soon. A couple of episodes up our sleeve, which will be coming out in the next 48 hours. Stay
Ooh.
tuned. You know where, you know how. Going to hit end recording, Brooksy. So say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Good luck to Newtown Jets in reserve grade.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is SharkCast Pod. Up, Cronulla. Let's go.